first one that we have on the chart is Apple. Everybody was looking forward to Apple's earnings. I guess it was, I won't say it was a blowout earning, but it was a pretty good earning, kept the market up. As we can see on the chart, 175, it's uptrend. It definitely is an uptrend right now, making higher highs due to the earning beat. Now, the issue is that the 175 resistance level, that goes back to August 2022. So it's been in that zone for a while now, and it will be interesting to see if we can actually beat that. I do see 181, which was the all-time high of January 2022, and the stock all-time high. So every time, as I mentioned earlier, the stock starts to get to their 52-week high, there has to be some kind of a catalyst that can push and break that resistance and then eventually consolidate and make that as a support. There are a couple things that are against most of the stocks right now is the macroeconomic condition, right? Because even though we continue to have these smaller bank failures and the money is getting tighter, you start seeing a lot of tech layoffs along with other companies. My real question over here, the risk to reward is like, we have to be very careful going all in. Now as a trader, you might be able to take advantage of the volatility. The put to call ratio is 0.99, so it's pretty even. It's like the bulls and the bears are pretty even here. And if I have to do options for, let's say, next 5 days, 155 has 31,000 open interest versus 180 has 14,000 open interest. The sentiment is more on the negative side compared to the positive side. What do you guys think about this chart?
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick and say this looks a lot like NVIDIA, right? Approaching prior highs from over a year ago or about a year ago. And yeah, that resistance is going to be strong. You got August 22 resistance. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would just say I would want to see strong volume on that big push through, and not strong volume just on like an earnings beat necessarily, but like strong volume just in general on general trading to get through that level would be very positive.
Just going to follow up on that with the trading. I was going to mention the fact that the volume bars shot up, so it would be good for trading, intraday and stuff like that. So I think we'll see a lot more volatility with Apple moving forward. Do we have CPI on Wednesday? Is that right? Have you mentioned that in the early parts of this call?
Just briefly, yeah. What would you like to say about CPI?
Well, just it could push the stock straight through that 175 barrier, and then we'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, either way, if we get a good CPI report, then it could push stocks quite highly up, I think, because we're getting quite a few positive reports in a row now. But obviously, likewise, if we get one that's not so positive, then yeah, another rest.
But I think if the stock pushes higher, for people who own Apple, they should be selling covered calls on that day. You'll get some nice premium on that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Very nice. Yeah.
Moving on, next one is Microsoft, and I know there was one of our listeners who requested Microsoft, so we decided to put that for this week. We haven't really been tracking Microsoft a lot, but again, big bump post earnings. The volume was 68 million on the earnings, so a lot of trading happening. The volume is now stabilizing around the 27 million mark. The RSI is 69, so I would say still it's getting overheated, almost reaching the 70 level. 313 would remain as a resistance because this was March-April of 2022. So we would, again, similar to Apple, you would need some kind of a major catalyst. I know we're talking about AI, all the whole buzz that is happening, but every time I see these big, breakout candles and you get closer to the resistance level, I do feel like there would be a rejection from that level, and you'll probably end up coming back, consolidating in that 294 until you can really go back up. Put to call, again, it's similar to Apple, it's even 0.98. Call options at 315 are 4,000 open interest versus at 302 is 5,500. What do you guys think?
I agree that the steep run is a little bit concerning right at resistance without busting right through it. You can see historically where that's happened a couple of times and just kind of sold right off. That being said, it tends to recover pretty quickly, and it makes sense that I think the stock is bought as a defensive, right? People just pile into Microsoft thinking that is a safe name to get into, and that might, continue to hold true and continue to at least hold levels. But that 313 looks like it'll be tough.
Yeah, it does look tough. I think a nice retracement down to the 20. Is that 20, the purple line, K?
That is a 50-day moving average.
50, yeah. So over, that's a consistent 2 months. But I feel like a lot of these stocks are moving up quite highly. With Microsoft and Apple, just looked at just now, they really are pushing, aren't they? And the SPY is not really pushing up with it. I don't know if that's because of different sectors and stuff like that, but I don't know.
So do you think it could be a rotation, right? Or not necessarily rotation, sorry. But people, like I was mentioning, going to where they perceive safety, right? And so if you're going to pull out of other stocks that might be a little bit more risky or looked at more risky, if you're concerned about the economy and a recession coming, then you might go into companies like Microsoft, Apple, Google, where you feel like, well, no matter what, these guys are the stalwarts and they're going to continue to push higher. And that might be a dangerous setup, quite frankly, if everybody's, consolidating into just a few names, and then one of them, has a bad report or misses or some news comes out. It's a tenuous situation is what I would say.
It is, yeah, absolutely. I think it will be interesting because obviously everyone's flooding into tech. It just takes one bad report, like you say.